Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the I'm Booked podcast. I'm April Eichhorn, formerly April O'Leary, and I am the founder of O'Leary Publishing, now known as Golden Acorn Press. And we are coming back to you with another amazing episode featuring one of our astounding, amazing, awesome authors, Maria Louisa Carter. She has authored the book, The Shero Mindset, and that has changed the world. She has taken this book around the world, and we're going to dive into that as well on this episode. So stay tuned and let's welcome Maria Louisa Carter to the I'm Booked podcast.
Hi, April. So nice
I'm
to
s-
see you.
I'm so glad you're here. And this is a long overdue interview. Your book came out a few years back, and she spoke at our Book to Naples event last year and has been just promoting her book and sharing her message of inspiration and the Shero mindset. So, give us a little bit of a peek into the Shero mindset and what it is and how you began developing this as a book.
I think it started with the understanding of positive psychology and the possibility of the trauma growth. What we always heard was about the post traumatic disorder, but very few people talk about how we can actually potentially grow out of a tragic event in our lives. It's really a different concept that we have not had that because medicine and psychology and psychiatry it's growing exponentially because now they can understand better the brain. I started to think of writing the book during the COVID when my currently business was shutting down. I have a travel management company and we work with universities. At that time, our business was going to shut down. I had the time. And then a friend of mine had told me about you. We knew each other before. So it was very good, like a reintroduction. I had no idea that I could even write a book. I knew that I was a writer of creative projects, but not a book. So I think in choosing to work with you was more than just having you publishing a book or editing a book. I think you and Heather, and I always comment that in all the events that I go, how you help me to navigate all my thoughts, putting in writing and becoming an author. That actually today I feel like I'm an author.
Well, you are an author.
Yes, I am an author, but
You are an author.
I feel that have I not navigated that first moment of becoming an author, I don't know how I would have been able to have a book.
So tell me about the Shiro mindset. And if we want to talk a little bit about House of Gaia and all of the amazing community you built over a very long period of time and
Yeah.
the women that you came in contact with and how that sort of coalesced into this book, The Shiro Mindset.
Yes. So at the time of COVID too, House of Gaia was closed. And so all of those feelings of feeling helpless led me to something positive because I thought of the people that had inspired me and had it really made my mind shift like this from victim to feeling empowered. I felt, okay, I know these women, I know their stories, and I called them and I said, I have an idea to do a book. You inspire me. Would you accept it to be one of the chapters? Yes. Six people said yes to the project. And I said, you can change your name, you can change your children's name. No, we will volunteer all the information. This act is such an act of compassion, being selfless to
Hmm.
say, Here's my life, and I'm going to give it this and put in a book." And then you make it concrete because now the book holds their true stories. However, I also gave them a title of a Shero, a she hero. And they embodied that. They feel that. They feel like, yes, I am. I am a Shero. And I just had a friend that is finishing reading the book. She said that she doesn't know what to do when she finished because she wants to continue, but then she's crying. And, and then she's feeling emotion, but she wants to know more. And the husband is asking what's happening because they go to sleep and they read the book, but then they can't sleep. it's how this book is also navigating to the right hands, the
Mhm.
right people that needed to read those stories.
Mhm.
Because then that story becomes like, oh my gosh, if that person can, then I can,
Yes.
you know? And you don't feel so lonely in life because I think one of our biggest mistake that we commit almost every day is to think that we are alone in a process of life. Like this is my feelings, nobody's feeling this way. This is my sorrows, my sadness, when it's pretty much universal. And then when you see others going through and choosing intentionally not die internally, not letting that spirit just to die. I'm not even talking about real death. I'm talking about the essence.
Mhm.
Either because it's in a oppression in a marriage, either is because, which was my case, or either is because they receive a diagnosis of cancer, or is because they were abused when they were children, or because they lost children, which is an unimaginable thought for any parent to lose children. And then one of our Sheroes lost three children, and is still raising her grandchild, and so it's just incredible. And I think, yes, my book came on 2023, but we couldn't do much with the book at the time either because they were going through a lot. And once Shira went through, she lost consciousness. She went into coma. And I said, I can't right now. We don't have the joy that I want to have for the book because one of our Shiras is in coma right now. Well, she remains in coma. This is 3 years ago.
Mm.
And she comes and goes, and she actually lives in Buenos Aires. She moved from here to Mexico, to Buenos Aires by plane, by special airplane. She has her caregivers in Buenos Aires. She's doing a stem cell program without being fully conscious. And so, if that's not a Shiro, who is a Shiro? She's nice and she's kind, so people love her.
And what's beautiful about this book, among many things, is for you as a listener to understand that Lulu has a very special talent for bringing people together. And she has a very loving, compassionate side to be able to bring out these very difficult stories. And not everybody can do that. And so I want to
Mhm.
commend you for doing that because giving someone a voice to share their story, their trauma, their post traumatic growth, and to celebrate them, and that they decided not to just internally die or stay under the covers, and no one would blame someone if they did, frankly, for a lot of the loss that you share in your book. But
Yeah.
how were you able to bring that skill, not only of positive psychology, the therapy skills that you possess to be able to create the safe space where they could share their story? How were you able, if you could give a listener sort of a peek behind the curtain and the
I think
magic.
I'm gonna try to tie all the dots. When you go through trauma, and I went through childhood trauma, being sexually abused, you understand what is safe place.
Mhm.
You understand because it's visceral. It's in your vagus nerve. You understand when you're safe and when you're not safe. And I think because I was a compassionate child and I was an empathetic child, I felt that I needed to continuously my life growing with that mindset of not being a victim. Because I could have chosen since I was a child to be the victim, and I didn't. And instead, I put all that pain into work. And I had a preschool in Brazil, and I had the concept of open something special in Naples, Florida, where we could go through transitions, all of us, not this segment or that niche or that population, but all of us. So when I opened House of Gaia in 2008, I didn't have many plans of what I was going to do, but I sat and saw the need for the community. And one of the things was parents bringing children and wanting to be with their children. Because so many parents today, they have just the to-dos. When it comes time to play, they get tired, they don't know what to do, because they are already consumed by the responsibilities or the worries. And so that time it was a time where a lot of parents came and stayed with their children, and we created meaningful connectivity, and the parents could go through transition. I saw so many things at that space, from baby showers to memorial. What is the place that you host a baby shower and memorial at the same place? And that the Jewish community is supported by the Christian community, that is supported by the non-religion community, that voted for Republican and then also voted for Democrats. So for me, I was always so happy arriving at House of Gaia at the bumper sticks in front of the cars because I saw
Mhm.
Shiva, I saw this, I saw that, I saw Jesus, I saw politics, and I said yes because when they all took their shoes off before they enter the space, they enter as humans and we all want the same thing. We want a safety.
Mhm.
Don't we want to all feel safe all times? Yeah,
Yes.
that's what we want. We want to feel safe so we can be authentic, so we can be spontaneous. Because in order to be spontaneous, you do need it to feel safe. And so creating order, creating joy, creating peace, creating a space where there was a lot of fun, but yet was safe. I love how when we put the dots together, it's like why you a writer, why you a publisher, why I am in the industry of travel and I am the one that works with the risk management. That's my position for my
Mhm.
travel business. I work with risk management. Why? It's because all of the things I've learned and all of the lessons and all of the pain and all of the darkness allowed me to be actually a more specialist in those topics and be more present. I am finding that my life is a better life after the book. So the book also holds me accountable for my mindset. So when I feel like I want to lose my mindset, I'm like, I can't. I wrote a book, people are reading it. And so
Mhm.
I practice because it's practice, it's
Mhm.
discipline.
Mhm.
You just don't get the mindset, like a diet, right? You get that mindset that those weeks you're going to do like a cleansing and you're going to do that. And then you lose that mindset. Or alcohol, you needed to have the mindset to avoid addictions. You have to mindset not to be addicted to things because today addictions are so vast. It can be a shopping addiction, be an online addiction, it could be a phone addiction, it could be a lot of addictions. So, in order to develop this mindset in the book, I don't give a recipe. That's the first thing. So people say, but what is this mindset? I don't know. It's not one shoe fits all feet. You need
Mhm.
to find your own mindset. What serves you? What gives you peace? What gives you self love? It's great to love others, but if we don't have our own love, we're very vulnerable because now they hold the
Mhm.
power over you, right? Because we
Mhm.
all want to be loved, but it starts with us, and then also kindness. Everybody think, oh, everybody's kind to themselves. No, people are hard on themselves. The competitive world, the
It's
social
being
media
your own worst
world,
critic, yes.
it's
Mhm.
so critical.
Mhm.
And then how many acts of kindness you do to yourself during the day? Not indulging and not contributing to your addiction. Okay.
Right.
Because some people
Mhm.
confuse it, right? Like, oh, I can eat chocolate. No, I can't.
Ah,
It's not it's not good for me all the time. So I'm not gonna indulge myself. But what can I do? How can I stop the day and pause, breathe in, and just let things come out and understand that there is always a choice. Am I doing this because I chose to do this? And if that's the case, then don't resent what you're doing. I don't have time for nagging people. I have time for sharing people.
mhm.
The ones that come and share with me, oh, my day is not easy today and I'm having difficulty and people all over the world, they open themselves to me and I listen. I don't come with recipes. That's why I don't have recipe in the book. I don't tell, oh, I did this and I did that because what I did, it's just my story. Each one will tell their story in different ways. That's why each Shero tells their stories in different ways. And then you needed to have that moment of clicking and saying, you know what? I will rewrite my story. I will tell my story in a different light. I will own my own flaws. I will own my own things. It was very hard for me to first come out of the denial that I was raped. And
Mm,
second, write about that. Give
mhm,
this permission of everyone to know about my rape, including my teachers from positive
mm,
psychology, which Tal
mhm,
Ben-Shahar, he wrote for,
mhm. Yes.
in the book, and then be that vulnerable. But you know how many people had came out with their stories about being
Mhm,
raped after the book? Many, because I was courageous to put it out in a delicate way, like Heather says. What are you giving to your readers? Don't think of how you want to say, think of how they want to read. I think
right.
that was one of the biggest lessons from Heather to me. How you curate what you want to say to the one that is going to be reading. Because
Mhm,
I didn't tell about my rape in a very harsh way. I was delicate in giving that information to the reader.
mhm,
And so the question is like, how do I do that? I think I've been doing that my entire life. I listen to people, I create safe places. One of the things that I have in my life that I consider myself very rich is the trust that people have in me. Because I used to have a preschool in Brazil, and what is to be with that precious toddler,
mhm,
right? And then the travel, like how many college students are traveling right now with our company? And then a House of Gaia, how many parents are coming with being raw? I feel so honored, April. I feel, and I don't take that as light.
mhm,
I am very honored of being able to sit with someone, be present, to say, I'm here for you, I'm listening to you, we are together. Now, I'm actually doing a documentary about kindness and the importance of kindness. But I think it is kind of one thing needs to come first for the other to come. I couldn't be doing this documentary if it wasn't for the book, because this
mhm,
book it holds me accountable. This book is also a beginning of a life where I don't have to be ashamed of my traumas,
mhm,
that I embrace my traumas. And I am very vulnerable because, yes, I have trauma growth, and yet I have PST. I can be triggered very easy and I can go to the rabbit hole very easy. What is different is now with the book, I can go faster back.
mhm,
And before the book, I was stuck in the darkness with my
mm,
feelings and my sorrow
mhm,
and and no one actually in the book share half of what have happened to them.
mhm.
There's a lot of stories that I had to sit and hear and say, I can't do that to the readers. It's just too much. A good book is the one that wants you to read further, not to stop reading, right?
Well, I think that the beautiful thing that you were able to do in the book is bring your community together. The book was actually kind of a second iteration because Lulu started with a solo book, and
Yeah.
in the middle of that had this inspired idea that this was not just about her, this was about more than just her. And then she reached out to her community, helped them bring together some beautifully hard, traumatic stories with a positive Shero mindset. And then for the reader to be able to read these stories and then feel like they're not alone. And I think that really you achieved that goal in what you set out to do is you're a community builder, you're a heart-centered person. You're able to build the trust, as you said, within your community, which you had already built over the years, which is why these women were willing to share their stories in a
Yes.
public way. But then with the help of Heather, who's our head editor here, she was able to say, let's think about the reader who is ultimately the one that's going to be impacted by these stories. And let's make sure the reader feels that they're not alone and that they too can go through their own hard, difficult, traumatic things, can look at them from a post-traumatic growth mindset potentially, how to maybe recover quicker when they're triggered, how to feel that there are other stories that can help them feel connected.
I think we do go through self pity.
Mhm.
And I think when you hear and you see others not being, again, indulging that self pity feeling,
Mhm.
and instead of putting that pain to work, pushing through. Like I had cesarean. I didn't have a normal birth, but I feel like through the pain comes life, through that struggle, through that push and push comes life. The message to the reader is that you're not alone, and you too can curate your mind to become stronger. And I'm going to give a very quick example of that. And I can share because I have permission to share. Are you familiar with Vanessa Zupis?
I don't think so.
No. Okay, so Vanessa was one of our moms. I saw her son being in her belly, and being born. She became my first assistant director. We became very close. Recently, this past 5 years, she was diagnosed with a very severe kind of multiple sclerosis,
Mm.
and she was losing all her functions, and she was doing really bad, really bad. And she came for one of our gatherings. Was the first gathering that I did that I had like 50 ladies, and they all got the book, and it was incredible. And she was crying and she was resisting actually to have the book or read the book. But finally she did with the help of the hospice. One day I get a call from Vanessa and she says, I need to see you. I have a present for you. And I'm like, okay. I went to see her. I never got a most beautiful present in my life. She made a song for the Sheroes. This is a woman that was under hospice care. And yet she went to Facebook. She took all the pictures with the scarves, with the ladies, with the book, with this, and she did a song for each. Like it was one song with each one of us.
Wow.
And she recorded the song with the help of the musical therapist.
Wow.
And she said, I'm not a victim anymore. She died and she asked me to be the one speaking on her behalf. With Holly, one of our Sheroes, I was able to be in a hospital watching her birthing Ariana. I was the first one to see Ariana. And now she's at Gaia with us. So with Holly, I had that opportunity of seeing Ariana from the birth side. And then I
Mhm.
was able to be with Vanessa and speaking about her and looking at her kids' eyes. I am so incredibly, incredibly, I think the word that comes to my mind is rich.
Mhm.
Because richness for me is not paper, it's not money. Richness for me is that being able to be in this life, serve, be simple, be humble, keep things grounded, not taking this as no, none of that. I don't allow when people try to make me who I'm not. I'm like, no, 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 no. Mm-mm. I'm a human. I'm a human. I make mistakes. I have flaws. Keep it grounded. Being able to come to this life and touching so many people's heart and be touched by so many people's heart.
Well, I'm certainly proud of you for all of the work that you did and are continuing to do to promote the Shero mindset. And I want to shift a little bit gears here and talk about your work with the autism community and what's
Yeah.
happening there. And I know you have an event coming up, which, of course, by the time this podcast is launched, it'll probably have already been a success, I'm sure.
Yes.
But let's talk a little bit about that and how that maybe overlaps into the Shero mindset.
My empathy and my studies of psychology allowed me to see that this population is a population that is not served well. They don't have the resources or financial resources or the government resources. It's more now than it used to be 30 years ago. I graduated in art and then I went to study speech therapy. I drove my mother crazy. She didn't know what I was doing. Finally, I blended everything and I made it the programs that we have today, full of psychology, full of understanding of the brain, how the brain works. I was always fascinated by the brain. Fascinated. You can be brilliant, you can be amazing, you can be loving. As soon as your brain is not healthy, unfortunately, you are a different person. You don't talk the same, you don't remember things, or you have a stroke and then now you have to relearn how to do things. And so I was always fascinated by the brain. And when I lived in Brazil, I worked with a very famous neurologist. And if he had any team to put together diagnostic, he would call me to be part of his team. And I was one of the first ones to help parents to understand what autism at that time was, because it's still in process to be understood. No one has a final word of what it is. And with my empathy, I thought, okay, this is it. This is the people that I want to serve the most. It's my purpose. It's in my heart to. And so I feel like I am an autistic whisper. The amount of love that they feel for me and I feel for them is just it's out of the chart. And the parents feel that too.
Mhm.
Now, when they come and they sense that I'm relaxed, I'm happy, and I believe that they're here for their purpose. And I'm just the conduit to help them to find words, even if the words are not here, but if it's in the art. And so Bloom will always be Bloom. It's not just this time, you know. Bloom is our creative expressive class because we're going to have many art classes. But Bloom is our creative expressive class. And it's about just being. And they were able to create incredible art pieces. You would be so surprised. It's not a cute art, it's really like expressive art. And the ages start at age 12 to 43.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I chose not to work with the little kids right now
Mhm.
because we just had February and March and April to put this together. And so I chose an older population. But they come with their parents. Their parents participate. They also learning how to accept their expressions. And it's about flourishing. It is about acceptance. It is about breaking patterns. It is about being loved despite. And what a great a gift to be loved just because. So we have one piece, since this is after the show, I can share with you. We have one piece that is going to be a surprise piece. It's a painting. The name is Unconditional, and it's love letters from the mothers to their children. It's a collage love letter, and the name is Unconditional. And I
Mm.
think, April, it's the hardest thing is to love unconditionally because we do love with lots of conditions. But these parents, either they love unconditionally or it's really hard.
It's beautiful what you're doing and that you have the research and the science and the experience behind you, and that you have really this heart for an underserved population and that you're doing something about it. Because I think there's those of us in the world who can see a need and think about that and not do anything about it. But you really connect all the dots, bringing help and service and heart centered opportunities to that population is beautiful. So, where can someone learn more about what you're doing with Bloom and the Shero mindset? What's their best way to get connected?
I worked quite a bit on my pages in Google. So when you put my name in Lulu Carter Naples, because there is another Lulu Carter in Germany, there is a Google page, 3 Google pages about me. So they
Beautiful.
can find me there because then you have the website for the Shero Mindset.com, you have the houseofgaia.org, you have articles, you have press releases. You know, we were very, very blessed in this community with support of press. I was able to be in PBS with a little show of House of Gaia. I got the Face Award. And those moments give me, I don't feel important. I feel like, oh, I'm sane. I'm sane. Thank you. I'm not crazy. you know, what I'm doing is not, and especially after studying 10 years of positive psychology, everything that I do is science. It's not
Hmm.
just being good. There is something about our chemistry that when you are good, you feel good and you make others
Hmm.
feel good.
It's a beautiful circle.
I would like to thank you, April. I also love your journey, and I'm very happy that I am interviewed by you with the Golden Acorn.
I'm very happy to. Lulu and I have been connected for over 10 years through the Naples community and through lots of different ways. And to be able to have the opportunity and the privilege to publish the Shero Mindset is such an honor for me. And to see you on the stage at our Book Naples event and to just watch you just spread all your love and all your kindness, not just in our local community, but even beyond that with the kindness documentary and your vision for the autistic community. To me, it's like, how is she, well, this one human being doing all of this? And I said, when she sat down for the podcast here, I said, I could see you smoking. And she laughed because this morning she said, I'm on fire. And I'm like, you totally are on fire. She has so many things going. So I encourage you
So
to
true.
go and Google Lulu Carter Naples, connect with her on the Shero Mindset, purchase and buy her book. Make sure you leave an Amazon review. Check out all of the other ways that she is spreading her love and kindness around the community. Thank you for being a part of
Thank you
what we're
so
doing
much.
here at O'Leary Publishing and now Golden Acorn Press, and for being my friend and for being such a supporter of what we do and us for you. I really adore you and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, April.
All right. Have a great day and thank you all for listening to the I'm Book podcast. Stay tuned for our next episode.